Olá, novos e seminovos, velhos e semivelhos, eu sou o Eric Risato e este é o canal O Som do K7. E no vídeo de hoje você vai conferir uma entrevista exclusiva com Sharon Corr, integrante do grupo Irlandês The Corrs. Sharon, que recentemente lançou seu terceiro álbum solo, The Fool and the Scorpion, que no Brasil foi distribuído pela Warner. Mas antes, deixa seu like, se inscreva no canal e acione as notificações.
O Som do K7.
How are you doing, my
Hello.
dear?
I'm
Hello.
good. Thank you.
Very good and beautiful. Thank you for accept this interview. Thank you for having me. The Fool and the Scorpion, the new release, a beautiful album, a deeper album. And the inspiration of this album, pandemic time, divorce, children, life. Tell me more about this masterpiece. First, good morning.
Good morning. Hello. It's really nice to meet you. Thank you for your lovely compliments. My gosh, this album is a journey from 2015 to 2019. So it's pre-pandemic and just about. And I suppose it's a journey through my life and my feelings and everything that I experienced in my life from 2015, where I was making massive changes in my life. I was sort of getting rid of the stuff that wasn't working for me and examining what I felt internally about situations and trying to recalibrate them. So I think maybe the first song I wrote for the album was, I think it's Free Fall, but you'll have to go into the bio because my memory is not great. But, and that's kind of like, and it's kind of the right beginning song because when you're in free fall, you have no net, you know, there's no landing point. You just start. So I was sort of inspired by what I was feeling inside and the messages that I was getting from outside and my internal voice going, this is not right, I've got to change it. So, but I was in free fall because my life had sort of been set a certain way and I had to start adjusting to that and sort of, you know, free fall is a pretty angry song, you know. Get out of my head. But it's also a deep revelation of chaos and a deep revelation of I'm in free fall. I am like crystal slipping through your hands, you know? Mm-hmm. So, and that's a good, I mean, that just, it organically became the first song of the album. That's, you know, life does that. You sometimes don't need to devise something. Mostly, actually, you'd be better off not thinking about something. You'd be better off just doing. And then there's many more themes on the album. I mean, there's, you know, there's running on rooftops, which is kind of funny. I'm running on rooftop. You know, it's like, it's, you know, it's me laughing at myself, you know, because I'm remembering days with the Corrs and, you know, we probably had a few drinks and you know, the next day you wake up and you're totally resaca, you know, your head is killing you and you're kind of like, oh, I need to go to hospital. It's kind of a joke, that song. That kind of is really, it's a real playful song, you know, like human beings.
It's a good melody. And the first one, the Fool and the Scorpion, is a poetry. It's a dance, deep poetry. There's a chameleon, there's a scorpion, there's a fool, there's a queen. Who are you in this music?
That's a very interesting question. I am the person who experienced the fool, the queen, the scorpion. I'm the person almost, I suppose that, you know, they were like a storm in my life. So it's like you have like people around you, and the song is very observational. It's very metaphorical. I won't go into the literal details, but I did feel that there was an idiot in my life who was the fool. I felt that there's also a chameleon, so somebody who changes their colors. They literally camouflage themselves constantly to not be seen, you know? So, and they adapt to every situation. So it's like a lack of truth. You know, with a chameleon, for me, sort of emblemizes a lack of truth. The scorpion is the person who stings you badly. You know what I mean? It also is an astrological reference as well to the Scorpio, you know? So
it could be danger too.
Well, no, exactly. You get stung, you know? So it's, but actually, I think the sting was mine in writing the song in the end. So, but you know, it was like it was an event in 2019 that sort of, it was such a shock. You know, when you receive a gigantic shock in your life that you never think will happen, and it's probably not what you're thinking, and I'm not going to say what it is, but it was just like, it was, you know, it was just the last nail in the coffin, if you know what I mean. And I was reeling, I was upset, I was raging, angry. I was on a plane, I was crying, which is, you know, not ideal. But actually, the one thing I've learned through this journey, which I've actually learned many things, I mean, that's the silver lining. You know, things happen to you in your life, and you make life changes, and you learn so much about yourself and about other people and how you want to navigate your life. And, you know, for me, I learned how to just completely accept my vulnerability and in fact embrace it, you know, and go, I like you, vulnerability, you're cool, you know, and you know, and just to be brave enough to use your own vulnerability, because we're all super vulnerable. It's not like some of us pass through life without getting hit in some form or other. You know, we don't go through life without tragedy. And if we do, I don't know, maybe there's another karmic cycle and you're going to get it. I don't know.
And we can see a strong Sharon, a different Sharon from the first album and the second album, and is the magical of this album, I think. And you talk about family, you talk about hope in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about, I mean, there's so many themes on it. And, you know, I would often, you know, I didn't decide to write any of these songs. These songs came to me. They're like blessings, you know, they're like beautiful gifts. And, you know, it's like, let's say, Under a Daylight Moon. That's me wanting to escape. You know, it's like you're in a nightmare and you want to return, you want to go back to fairy tales, you know? But it was kind of like, because I'm a strong woman, but I'm also a very vulnerable woman and a very sensitive woman. And maybe that's probably where I get my music from. But also I need to be rescued sometimes as a woman. So it's like all sides of being feminine, because the thing is that, you know, when you have to get strong and put up your defenses and get hard, you never want to lose your femininity, you know. So Under a Daylight Moon, I was literally hiding under the covers in my bed in the morning. I did not want to get out of bed and face a crappy day, you know. And I was kind of, you know, I was there quite a while. But then this piano motif kept going on and on and on in my head. And like, it was literally calling me from the bed. So I walked from the bed to the piano and I wrote Under a Daylight Moon in 3 hours. And the thing about that song is that song's full of hope. And that song means I've not lost my romantic side. In fact, I probably have more of it, you know? And the song is like, you know, I am a little girl inside. I'm a strong woman, but some days I'm a little girl and I need somebody to take my hand and walk me under a daylight moon, because the moon is a miracle. It's just so beautiful, So that song is hope and dreams, Take my little girl hand and walk me under a daylight moon.
And only you, Andrea, helps you. Do you have contact with your family? And when you get together, there's music in the conversation. Do you used to play or not? Music always stay behind the reunion, the meet of the family.
Yeah, we rarely talk about music together. And when I was writing Only You, I started writing it in Andorra, and I don't live there any longer. I live in Madrid now, and I went in then to record White Light with the Corrs, okay? And we were working with John Shanks as well, the producer. And I kept going back to the piano and working on this song, just not working on it, like compelled to do it. I had this lovely chord progression going on, and the chorus and the verse written more or less. And, Andrea walked in and she calls me Sha, and she goes, "Sha, that's beautiful," And so I played it for her, and then, I said, I'm thinking of the lyrics, because I wrote this about a sunny afternoon where I watched my loved one, the man that I loved, fall asleep. And when a man falls asleep, that's vulnerable. And it's really beautiful, because then you see him return to a child. The defenses are dead. So I think it's a beautiful thing. And I wanted to sort of write about that day, and I wanted to write about the past. I wanted to write about just beautiful moments where, when you're in love, that literally nothing exists but the two of you in a room listening to beautiful music, and humming along. So she started, sort of working on it with me, and then John Shanks came into the room and he goes, "What the hell is that? That's beautiful," So then the three of us ended up sort of, collaborating on the song. And then, I remembered it and I thought, that song's destined for this album.
Beautiful one, a good one. I love this one. And in A Thousand Lives is something more Celtic, more Irish. What was your inspiration to do this song?
Well, it has a number of influences, this song. I mean, lyrically, I was thinking about my mum and dad and words of wisdom that they've given to me. It's like Mama told me that you don't need it all. A little piece of something is a lot more than nothing, And those are very, very wise words, because we're always sort of chasing more. I kind of believe, less is more, not more is less, so less is more, really. It's important musically as well. And Daddy had always said to me, try to keep it simple. And, I really believed in those philosophies, but somewhere in my journey and under the influence of perhaps other people in my life, I lost simplicity. You know what I mean? But at heart, I don't need much. I mean, I need my piano, my children, my food, my house, my music, my violin, but I really don't need an awful lot more. And then I was thinking also about, it was about life changing, because when you look back on the words that your parents say and you probably didn't listen to, you realize you're listening, so you're changing,
Yes.
And so it was about change, and that sometimes while you're changing, you need to put up a mask, not the COVID mask, the pre-COVID mask, where it's kind of like putting on your armor to defend you from the world while you protect yourself. And you sort of, it's like, the it's like the caterpillar into the butterfly, you know.
Mhm.
You need
Yes.
that cocoon stage to protect yourself. And then I felt it's very much about stage as well, you know, because, you know, there's that moment before you walk on stage, you know, on the sideline, and you're like, wow, do I really do this for a living? This is nuts. This is like a bungee jump, you know? And then you go out there and it's like you're in your masquerade, but actually I'm not masked when I'm on stage. I'm literally unmasked completely. But I just sort of the whole world as in wearing masks of pretense, you know, and I was shedding any of time. So it has a kind of carnival atmosphere, like old French carousel carnival atmosphere to it, you know, with this sort of waltz rhythm on it.
And there's your violin in this one too.
Yes, there's violin. I mean, there's violin underneath a lot of the tracks. Like sometimes I'm playing sort of rhythm on violin, or I'm doing like plucking, or you know, I'm doing like chords on the violin. So or then it just weaves in and out. Like you'll hear it on the full and the strawberry going, it does this, you know, and that's the violin in the background, you know. And then I was using the bow of the violin to cymbal backwards on to bow backwards on a cymbal to create a really eerie, crooked, sort of nasty atmosphere, you know, like a storm. So yeah, the violin, music is an evolution. It's like a river, you know, with every turn it gathers new material, it changes. That's what music should be. If you're staying the same way, you're doing something wrong. So I'm evolving as a violinist and a writer, so it's changing.
You're more than a violin, and I loved it. It's something like take us to Irish atmosphere. I love that melody. Talking about your parents, about your roots. You were born in Dundalk, a small city and island. I visit your city. I visit your place, and it's a quiet place. Was lucky, was hard work, was opportunity. What made you famous? When you look back, you feel lucky to be on spotlight and make part of the global music. What helps you?
I think that my roots never made me seek fame. You know, I've never sought fame my whole life. In fact, I shy from it. But it made me seek music, you know, and it made me follow music. And it sort of entrenched me in music because our parents were musicians, you know. So, I mean, we had a very unusual household when I look back because it was all music. There wasn't another household around us like that. And then definitely it wasn't like two parents played music and they sang in clubs together. And then the four children go off and then they take on the world. I mean, it's a crazy idea, but, you know, there's a lovely quote by Oscar Wilde, and I probably won't be exact, but it's something like, we're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars, or it's to that effect. He's one of my favorite writers, but, you know, I just think that, you know, we came from humble beginnings, humble surroundings, troubled surroundings, because we were just beneath the border of Northern Ireland. Growing up was not easy, but we had beautiful, loving parents, and their life was not easy. They worked. The only way I can say it is they worked like dogs. They worked so hard, the two of them. So we were brought up with with a great work ethic. So it was never a thing of seeking fame, because fame is just like window dressing, you know what I mean? And maybe the window dressing you don't even want. Maybe it's the wrong window dressing, you know, it's sort of like bad icing on a cake. But if the cake's ingredients are amazing, then that's the great music, you know? So, I mean, we followed our hearts and I think our destiny, really. I think it was destined to happen. So, but the roots were humble, and I think that's kind of what made us work very, very hard. I think it was instilled in us by our parents.
I love Irish songs, Irish music, and the traditional, and your violin, the bodhra.
And the Baron, yes,
Bara.
yeah.
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 And a lot of huge band came up from Ireland. Sinead O'Connor, U2, Enya, The Corrs, of course, and the Cranberries in the same time during the 90s. A personal question, because Dolores and the Cranberries was huge hit too. Do you have contact with her? Did something together like you did with Bono? How was the relationship?
So we met the Cranberries first when we were going to LA to start. I don't know. I think we were looking for a record deal. It was such early days, and the Cranberries had just hit it massive with Linger, you know. And I think we met them in the hotel, but I reckon, you know, they were probably really, you know, used to people just running at them, you know what I mean? And, you know, we would have been kind of shy, but would have said hello. But I didn't get to know her at all at that stage. And then a couple of years down the road, I would have met her at MTV Awards in Dublin. But then a little later, when it's finally I had a conversation with her, or spent a tiny bit of time with her, because I never really knew Dolores well, and that's the truth. But we were playing the Vatican. So I think it was Christmas in the Vatican, but I think it was. And she came to our dressing room, you know, because we were the only two Irish, you know, on the bill, you know, and we were playing the Vatican concert, our orchestra, and it was just stunning. And she came in and she was so cool and she was so lovely. She was so sweet. I mean, she was like a delicate flower, really, Dolores, you know, and I don't think that life was easy on her. You know, I think she had a pretty tough time, and she was a lovely artist. You know, so it's pretty sad that she's gone, because I probably would have liked to have gotten to know her more in our maturer years, you know, rather than just in the, you know, big pop world or whatever, but like just as women, you know.
Yes. And Brazil, how did you connect it with Brazilian fans? And you record your DVD, your live show here in Brazil. Why did you hold Brazil and give the chance to us to record this DVD here in Brazil?
Well, I mean, I was fascinated by Brazil. I'd never been, which was unthinkable considering how much the Corrs had travelled, you know, and we hadn't been to Brazil. So I was fascinated by the music, you know, and you know, The Girl from Ipanema, and you know, those songs and that sort of. It's a Joe Berca. I don't know the name of the writer, but very beautiful. Maybe it's three writers, but beautiful. And it's just like the sway of the samba, you know, and I was like, wow, this is incredible, you know. But actually what got me connected was, I think it was Twitter, would you believe it? Or it was like Google Analytics, and I really don't want to, you know, advertise Google on here, but they you know, I had launched a website, I was on Twitter, and then I started seeing that all these people that kept following me were from Brazil. And I was like, wow, I never knew we had such a fan base down there. I had absolutely no idea. And so it just was something that built and built and built. And I connected, you know, with the lovely people in Brazil talking to me, you know, about their love of the Corrs music and everything. And I connected, you know, with them directly online, you know, nothing in the way, you know. And I just noticed how lovely and sort of gentle they were, passionate also, and very respectful, and just so enthusiastic, nice people, you know. So I said to my manager, Henry, that I'd love to go to Brazil, or you know, and he made it happen. And we went to Brazil, and was music brokers at the time. They helped us put together some concerts, and we recorded a live DVD, which was phenomenal. It was, I mean, I mean, I was a little bit nervous before, and because you would be. And I got out on stage and it was just like, nerves gone, I'm in heaven. This is heaven on earth, And then, at the end of the concert, which, it was 2 nights, there's a great fan club called Fanatic Chords. And they were reading me out, what they thought and how they felt, and they expressed all their feelings. And I gave them, what you do in Brazil is the artist gives the audience roses. I was given paintings. It was like all these gifts of, Brazilian delicacies. So, it was definitely love at first sight, and I'm, I intend to be there soon. So, yeah.
Thank you to give this chance to us. Thank you to record your show in here. It's so special for us. And your brothers have know how much Brazilian people loves Andrea, Caroline, and Jim. In the future, we can wait for you again, and we can wait for your, who knows, the course.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we never really stop. We take periods of time where we're not actually, making albums together. But I do see us touring and maybe making an album together in the future for sure. Yeah.
And we can wait for you.
Of course, I'm coming. You won't be able to keep me away.
Good. And do you return to do some concerts, right? Tell me more about this new concert, the new show, the set list, and you are so connected with piano, different than before with the violin. Tell me more about.
Well, the show is kind of a very dynamic arc. I play obviously some of the core songs that I wrote. I play like, Radio and So Young, and then I play also from Jupiter Calling. I played The Sun and the Moon on one of the shows recently, and I've played Season of Our Love. I've played, what's the other one? Live Before I Die. But all of these songs, like the ones in Jupiter Calling, the chorus ones, I wrote them on piano, alone. So, and I've been writing on piano most of my life. And it was a thing that was a challenge for me that I needed to give to myself, and I needed to do was to become on stage what I am actually in person. Yeah, so, you can see right here, it's just, apart from the cashew nuts and the tea and all the rest, these are my instruments, but I write all of my songs on piano. So in the show, you see a lot of, you hear songs from the new album, songs from the previous albums, like I do The Same Sun from The Same Sun. I do Take a Minute. What else do I do? I'm trying to remember now. My God, mine goes blank. I play Winona Heron. I play Heart in the Bath, Cooley's Real, and then every so often I'll throw in a surprise from, so some songs from the new album. Now I can play the whole new album, which is great. But I have a big repertoire now between the 3 albums, so I have a lot to choose from, and then the core stuff I wrote. So one of the last gigs I did, I think, well, maybe in Berlin. So I actually throw in only you, and the album wasn't yet released. So I was, being very bold. And I played that and they loved it. So yeah, I do something every night. I try to do something a little bit different.
And do you believe in the next generation of the course with your children and the children from your brothers?
I don't. I mean, I want my children the breathing space to do what it is they should do in their lives. I don't think the children necessarily need. They definitely don't need to follow in their parents' footsteps. But I think that if it's something that they desire and they want to do, then what I do is I just create the sort of fundamental grounding so that they have performing arts at school. They both play piano. I go, all of the kids across all of us have been given tuition, you know, but they need to choose it themselves, because otherwise you have to choose what you do in life, you know. So, and my kids are pretty good actors. So, I mean, I'd be pretty happy if they were actors, you know, or they might want to be lawyers. You never know. I mean, you know, I wouldn't choose that. But, you know, I think their path is their path. All I can do is assist and be there for them.
You influenced me to buy violin, but I give up. It's so hard to learn. Do you have a message for who want to start in the violin?
Well, I think, you know,
what's the secret to learn?
The secret is perseverance, because I mean, it's probably the second hardest instrument in the world to learn beyond the bassoon. Also, you know, it's a real trial on a child, because, you know, you play a note in the piano, it automatically sounds beautiful. You play a bad chord, okay, it sounds wrong, you adjust it. But you play a note in the violin and you can sound like, you know, a cat being strangled, you know, like it sounds awful, so, you know, when you're learning. So, and it takes a while, you know. I think that if you show a talent, then you should be encouraged to persevere, you know, and find a way to smile it and love it, because it's a very unforgiving instrument until you get a handle on it, and then it becomes like a sort of a love thing, because it's kind of love and hate. It's like you don't sound good today, you know. So the violin is like almost like it has a personality of its own to me, and I need to respect it, you know. Otherwise it won't be good to me. So I think it's definitely, it's a stunning instrument, but it really takes patience and perseverance to get through the period of time where you will sound awful.
Good.
You know? But finally you'll sound good, you know?
And returning to talk about the core songs. I love Goodbye, and I have contact with the demo that you record.
It's time to say goodbye. Block out this sun.
Yeah. What about that?
Do you have, I love Goodbye, and I know the message is a strong message. You can choose a one favorite song from the chorus.
Oh, a favorite song from the chorus. Oh, you know, there's so many. I loved One Night.
My heart, my love, my heart.
Absolutely loved that song. I love the melody in it. I'll always love Runaway. It has something so incredibly special and really, really defined us as a band, you know, and it's so romantic, and it has this beautiful sway. It's like a lovely Irish lilt in it. And then I was thinking of, there's another one, it's on Jupiter Calling, and it's Son of Solomon.
Find me, Son of Solomon, my own.
And I really, really, really love that one, because it's sort of, this sort of Irish side becomes almost Oriental in feel. So it feels sort of biblical and Oriental. It's like a world mix at that point. You know, it's not just Irish; it's like a world mix. So, but there are more that I like. You know, they're and I you know, they're Butter Flutter I love.
There's something on my mind. Butter flutter in my brain.
Yeah, I don't know. There's ones that I like, yeah.
There's a lot, and I love Undrum too. I love all your discography. I have this one, this digipack.
Discography, yeah.
And do you have a top three and the Fool and the Scorpion? Because it's hard to choose three.
My top three.
Top three.
Oh my gosh. The Fool and the Scorpion, the song.
Good one.
Wait, let's see. My Beautiful. But like this is like me choosing between my babies, you know, so it's a little bit difficult.
It's difficult.
You know, but I love Only You. I love Only
Perfect.
You. And maybe there's three, but you know, I'll probably change my mind in a week.
Can you leave a message for your Brazilian fans, please?
Sure. Well, I just can't wait to go back out to Brazil. You know, I love you guys, and I've always received such a warm feeling there. So you can count on me coming back out on tour. I really hope that you enjoy my new album, The Fool and the Scorpion. It's made with a lot of love and a lot of truth, a lot of intensity. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. And big.
Can you leave your social media and website?
Oh, I'm like Sharon Corr Official on YouTube. I'm Sharon Corr Official on Instagram. Probably Sharon Corr Official on Twitter. What else? I mean, the album's on Spotify, it's on all streaming platforms. It's an LP. It's on CD. You can get all my platforms if you just go into my Instagram account. You can find it all there.
Can you sing for us The Fool and the Scorpion?
Oh man, you really got
The Fool and the Scorpion.
Yeah. Now you made me shy and I blushed.
To finish.
No, I'm like dying here of embarrassment. I just put on makeup.
Oh my God. Thank you, Laila. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
And send a kiss to Ireland, send a kiss to your brothers. Kisses, all the love in the world for you.
Thank you so much. It was really lovely to talk to you. Thank you. Okay.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
E aí, curtiu a entrevista? Já conhecia o trabalho solo de Sharon Corr? Não? Eu vou deixar aqui na descrição o link do novo álbum, The Fool and the Scorpion. Álbum maravilhoso. E eu quero agradecer a Laila da Warner, que deu todo o suporte para essa entrevista ser realizada. Quer assistir outras entrevistas do canal Som do K7? Basta você clicar aqui nesse card. E eu te convido também para ser membro estribado do canal Som do K7. Lá você tem acesso a conteúdo exclusivo, assiste aos vídeos com antecedência e participa do nosso grupo de WhatsApp. E eu fico por aqui, até o próximo vídeo do canal O Som do K7.